we live life and we feel all the feelings that come through
we're
life.
toxic.
No, we're not toxic. No,
like,
we're
a
healthy.
little like
I've spent so much
compared
time
to
in
our partners.
therapy.
They're just so
Good.
like good, wholesome. We're good people. We're not that toxic, but I feel like compared to them.
Hey, speak for yourself,
Yeah,
Kira.
I'm
try.
I'm not in this group.
Yeah, I'm not.
I'm out.
Kira's labeling herself.
They're in denial, okay?
Whatever that means, Kira. What are you doing with your right hand? You're not doing your left. Should be ambidextrous. Oh my gosh. So all of us were up until 5 a.m. this morning. I'm kind of amazed we're here.
I wasn't up till 5
Wait,
a.m.
but you literally commented on one of my YouTube videos at 3 a.m.
But I wasn't at 5. 5 a.m. is another level.
Okay, so 5 a.m. you were sleeping. Kira, why were you up till 5 a.m.? Prepping for this pod?
Yeah, no, I'm not proud of it. So I live down the block from Mama Lion, and then my boyfriend was like, "Oh, my friends are from out of town. Let's just stop by." So then, yeah, we stopped by, saw some friends there. One thing led to another. We ended up going to downtown for an after party, and yeah, we were up till like 4, 5 a.m. Yeah.
Wow.
We're glad you're here. You made
I
it.
was alternating between working out and napping because my current new setup, I have my squat rack right next to my mattress. You like go do a couple sets, but then you're tired and you go lie down and you're like, oh, this is really nice.
That's disgusting.
Yeah.
Because you don't shower. You do your squat set.
I shower.
Oh, okay, well, you skipped that really important detail.
No. This is like in between sets. And then you finish working out and then I go shower because I'm not a savage.
But then the bed like
gets
sat
sweaty.
on the bed.
Yeah?
Ew.
No,
There's
wait.
lots of dirty things that get on the bed that's worse than sweat. Come on, it's okay.
Damn,
A
Kira.
little bit of sweat is okay. There's lots of...
Anyway, today is a very special episode because our beloved guest, Kira, is finally back after all these months. It's kind of crazy because we didn't know how people were going to react to JOMO, but our dating episodes with Kira just like crushed it. People loved you. It was so fun to have you. And people really like the 3-person dynamic too.
It's a party.
I know. And we love Kira deeply. But a lot has happened since then.
Oh, yeah.
Catch up like, what? It's been like 4 months.
I mean, first, a lot of you asked what are Kira's socials, and you're like, wow, JOMO hosts, such assholes, not sharing.
Yeah, we had to protect
Okay,
Kira.
asked us to keep them private because she was afraid her parents would find them.
Yeah,
But,
I did think your podcast would do well, but normally when you start out a content
you
channel,
thought we would get like 10 views.
yeah. So when they were
Yeah.
like, "Oh, do you want to do a podcast?" I was like, "Okay, let's go." I'm not nervous at all. I was just spilling all the tea. Like even my closest friends don't know some of like the gossip that I shared in the last podcast, and I was not expecting pretty much like all my mutuals to watch it. Like people were like sending the podcast to me. Like exes were reaching out. Like friends from college was
exes.
watching.
Did you
it.
respond to the exes?
Yeah, I did. We actually had a talk a couple of days ago. I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go on the podcast again. We're gonna talk about breakups." And he's like, "Is this a threat?"
Is this you guys are in good terms,
Oh,
right?
we're on great terms.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
I also had an ex comment on one of my videos too. So, Chloe, what about you? Any exes reach out?
Not yet, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Shoot your shot.
No. Get the fuck away from me. Like, get
You
out.
still talk with your exes?
Absolutely not.
But Kira, you do.
I talk with all my exes, not on a regular basis, but I feel like I ended things pretty well with all of them. So I have a lot of love for them. And if I had a choice, I would be friends with all my exes. But I think other people find it a little bit weird, or their current partners find it weird. So just to be respectful, I try not to, get myself involved too much. But
I think it's really hard to be on good terms, and I respect that people can do it. Yeah, I respect it.
How many breakups have you been through?
Officially, 3.
What does unofficial breakup mean?
I meant like we are officially boyfriend, girlfriend, and then we officially break up. And I think other people, if I'm just dating, like maybe dates 1 through 5, I don't know if it counts as a breakup because we weren't in a DTR relationship type.
yeah, like short relationships, like ones that only last like 2 months, or maybe like I feel like high school relationships don't really count, do they?
Let's count them.
Okay.
How
Yeah,
many breakups for you, Kira?
Well, 4, including the high school one, but 3 officially. So what about you?
I thought you would both each have more breakups than I've been through because you're both so cool, popular
I thought you were
people
gonna say
that
you're so promiscuous. I
no,
thought you were-
because you're high quality human beings that you're in demand and you're choosy. That's why.
Yeah, so what's your number?
I'm not going to share with you my number, but number of breakups in like serious relationships. I think I'm at like 6 now.
Wow.
It's pretty experienced.
You
so-
pull, Eric.
Yeah, you pull.
No, it's not a good thing to go through breakups.
That's true.
It's a sad thing.
Yeah.
I think you learn a lot from a breakup. I don't think it's necessarily bad. I just think our relationships were probably just longer. Like my relationships were like 5 years, 3 years with very little time in between.
I was 5 years, 1 year, 1 year, 1 year, 1 year, 1 year.
Oh, we gotta unpack that.
Yeah, I would love
Yeah. Well, so for those of you watching, part of the reason I want to do this is I did just recently go through a breakup with my ex-girlfriend that I have spoken about in the previous podcasts. And it felt weird that those pods were circulating around when we stopped seeing each other several months ago. So that's when I went to Chloe and Kira. I was like, I'm really sad. And why don't we talk about it on a podcast and make content out of it?
No, it's really good. I think breakups are very relatable. Breakups are a really tough thing to go through. And I think people underestimate the grieving process and how difficult a breakup is. But actually, a lot of studies show that a breakup is more traumatic or just as traumatic as a death of like a close family member, which makes sense because when you break up with someone, you not only lose them in the present, but you lose the key witness to your life's past memories, but then you also lose the future that you envisioned with them. So you lose a sense of self. So you lose your past, you lose your present, and you lose your future. And so, in my opinion, I think it's worse than death. At least with death, there's closure. Like dead and buried, you can't talk to them anymore. But it hurts when someone willingly leaves you and you still love them, and you just have to treat them as if they're dead. And I think that's pretty traumatic. So
Yeah.
I saw this video pop up on my YouTube feed the other day, and it said, I am a mosaic of everyone that I've loved before.
yeah,
That's real. Yeah.
And it's like, oh, everyone you've dated or loved, there's like little bits of them that stay in your personality, like the things that you do, the things that you like. And then also that means everyone that you've dated, we're also leaving little bits of ourselves behind with them too.
that's really beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm always like mini me versions of the people that I date. Like a lot of my exes, even like their favorite restaurants, their taste in music, like the books that they read, like it stays with you, you know? Even though you're broken up, you're not truly broken up.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm good. I'm out.
I feel like Kira and I over here being somber and Chloe's,
Yeah.
like, fuck my exes. I'm
yeah,
done with
dude,
them.
I'm good.
When in your relationships, Chloe, were you the one ending it,
No,
or were they the
no.
ones ending it?
The first one was middle school, and that was like really sloppy, but he was my first love, and then it was like really intense.
You were in a middle school relationship.
I was, yes. It was one of those maybe 2-3 years on and off situation, and I think it had a profound impact on me, and it was like painful. It was definitely painful. I probably made a lot of mistakes. Not my best days. Yeah. And then like the next official relationship was college, and that was the one I ended. And then the next one is adult life, and that was he broke up with me 3 times and kept coming back.
And you kept saying yes.
I know.
Oh,
My girl's gotta learn.
but you learned.
I did, finally.
What was the thought process behind taking him
You
back?
mean saying yes? The first time, it just came out of nowhere. It was like, it caught me off guard. And so I like didn't know where it was coming from. It just one day he was like, yeah, I think we want to break up. And I'm like, what? Like, that's so random. You were literally just saying I love you like yesterday and making long-term plans with me. How did this go completely 180? And it was painful. It was just so abrupt. I went on a whole journey to rebuild myself, like became a new woman, new circles, started singing and going to the piano bar in San Francisco, and was doing all that, built my newfound confidence. And then I guess he was like, damn, never mind. I take it like, I'm
He
so
saw you
sorry. I'm
glow
so
up.
sorry.
Wait,
like,
how
come
much?
back.
How much time had passed?
A month.
He wanted you back.
Yeah, a month. I was like, okay, maybe the first time you kind of mess up and that happens. But obviously a lot of my close friends were like, Chloe, no. Like, we saw you go through the darkest days. Like, no, don't do it. But I didn't listen. And I think in the end, I still had to go through that myself.
So you took him back. You got
Yeah.
back together. Like, what was it like? Was it good?
I think the hardest part was him regaining trust with me and with my friends. So everyone was like pissed, right? Because they saw me go through something that felt unfair. I think also during that time, he had a fling with another girl and wanted to come back. And it's like, it's actually fine on paper, like you ended it. So technically you're okay.
It still hurts.
But it's the principle behind it that you wanted to come back, and yet you still did something with this other girl. And I think I had a problem with the trust that was broken. So that was really turbulent. Honestly, I wasn't the best person either. Like, we brought out the worst in each other. We eventually tried to talk through couples therapy, but then we couldn't make it happen. Just so hard to, when you're in the heat of the moment and so angry at each other, it's hard to be like, okay, let's go set up therapy, because you got to go through a process, finding it, going through the weeks of consultation sessions. We both had our own separate therapists, but that was really hard. And I felt like I was not in a good mindset, and I was a year older, and I felt really insecure about being older, and then all the
How
other
old were you?
early 20s.
You're still young.
I know, right? But I think the thought of, oh, you're an older piece of meat, right? And then when you go to a party, I see him flirting with other girls. Like, girls would come in with backless shirts, and then he would put his hand on the back. You know what I mean? And then I would see that in the corner, taking care of like his brother in the corner of my eye, and like crying. And then I'd start shaking, and it'd be like, oh my God. And I really hated that insecurity. I'm like, fuck, man, that was awful. Oof, oh God, all these memories are flooding in. Oh. Anyways, so that was number 2. And then we broke up. I think we had a really, really, really bad fight, understandably, and broke it up. And then we were living with each other. And so we were doing the whole finance split thing of like, do you want to take this furniture piece? And then like, look, I'm using the split wise to determine the depreciation of this furniture piece.
The
It costs this much.
depreciation
You know
of
what I
this
mean?
furniture.
And then he's like haggling with me, and I'm like, bitch, you're a Google software engineer making hundreds and thousands of dollars, and you're trying to haggle with me on this? I was so angry.
Did you take him back after that?
So it was a year after.
No.
A year after. I moved to San Francisco. I rebuilt a whole new life, a community of love. Like, I went from South Bay to San Francisco. And then a year later, out of the blue, on a Sunday night, I remember, this bitch calls me. I see his name. I'm like, this is so random. I'm like, hello? And then he's like crying. And he's like, I miss you so much. Can I see you? And I'm like, it's a Sunday night. I don't know. Like, are you okay? Like, maybe tomorrow? And he comes tomorrow, and then he just says all the right things. And he tries to do things. He's like, oh, well, we can go eat dinner. Like, and then he's like looking at me lovingly, and he's like, I miss you. And he purposely leaves his backpack at my place so that we can go back to my place after. It's like that kind of thing. And then we're taking a picture together. He's like, oh, we want to take a picture? And I'm like, sure. And as we were taking a picture, I see a Coffee Meets Bagel or a Hinge notification, pop up. And I'm just like, what am I doing? And I like had an out of body experience, and you knew this is bad. This is bad, Chloe. But part of me always really loved him. And then just a series of, I'm going to move up to San Francisco. And then he moved up to 10-minute walk from my place, a 10-minute walk. Then he joins my nonprofit organization just to like prove to the people I care about that he's worth it again. I know. And it was awful. I don't know. I was like torn. And at this time, there's another guy I was going on a first or second date with. And he was like perfect on paper, except I just don't feel anything.
Isn't that so interesting how you can meet somebody that you think is so
perfect.
good and perfect for you, and then, you know what I mean? You don't feel the chemistry?
Yeah,
Isn't
I don't feel it.
So weird.
Yeah, all my friends are like, dude, he's it. Like, stop.
But you didn't
it.
feel the chemistry.
I didn't.
No, but sometimes I think girls confuse chemistry and butterflies and liking someone. I think I read somewhere, if you feel butterflies for someone, it actually means that they're making you feel a bit nervous and not as secure. So it's more likely going to be toxic. So the advice was actually give the guy that doesn't give you butterflies a chance.
Go
Oh,
Like the
for
guy that's
boring
like,
person?
yeah, like the perfect on paper. He's so good. He makes you feel so secure. He's not playing with your feelings. He's not making you feel like you're not worth it. So that's why you're not feeling this, like, because butterflies is a little bit of like anxiousness, nervousness too. And if he doesn't make you feel that way, but everything else is like perfect on paper,
Yeah.
then maybe it means that he's a real one. Like he's a good guy.
Yeah.
So-
But I fumbled that one because I decided to go with
The butterflies.
ex.
How did it end for the third time?
The third time, I think I went to Taiwan. And then when I came back, eventually I was like, hey, look, at this time I was seeing this other person. And ex got really upset. And I'm like, I was already seeing this person
Yeah.
before you.
He saw another girl too. before he got
Yeah.
back
I
for you
mean,
the
not
second
that
time.
that's, a reason or excuse for it, but I think he struggled with that. And then when I came back from Taiwan, he like totally changed. His whole attitude changed. And then he wanted to break it off.
What?
Yeah.
He couldn't make up his dang mind.
I know. Years of my life. So I
Men
understand.
will waste your time. I'm telling
Yeah.
you, this is why.
That's probably one of my biggest regrets
Both
in my 20s.
genders are
Yes.
equally
Okay.
capable. All genders are capable of wasting your time,
Yeah.
okay? Toxicity does not discriminate by chromosome.
True.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay, yeah, I can see why you're like, fuck this guy. Kira and I are like, we are but mosaics of everyone that we've loved. And you're like, yeah, fuck this guy. I don't want any of his memories
Don't want
here.
any of that. I don't want him to enter my
Yeah.
mental headspace. Closed chapter.
Kira, what about you? When you look back at your previous relationships, have you had somebody just keep coming back and back, like with Chloe?
I blocked a lot of traumatic memories out of my mind,
know,
so
me
I
too,
genuinely
me
can't
too.
remember.
You gaslit yourself.
Yeah, I
as if it
truly
never happened.
gaslit myself into thinking everything was peaches and rainbows. Actually, so my first like real ex, the one that I dated for 4 or 5 years. So he broke up with me about like 2 years in. I don't know. I don't know if he just fell out of love or if the butterflies died out. I think he wanted to boink other women. I don't know what the issue was. Like I saw him like texting his ex, like while he was showering, actually looked through his phone, and then he was talking with his ex and he was like not talking to me. And then he was like moving up to like NorCal or something. So then he broke it off with me, moved to NorCal, and then that following week I was just so disturbed. At 2 a.m., I packed my shit, put everything in the car, and I drove up to NorCal from San Diego. I think it was like an 8-hour drive.
That's so far.
To beg this man to take me back. And then here's the craziest part. And while I was doing that, my brother died that day. And I was not there. So this is why I will never ever kind of like go back to an ex and ask him to take me back or see my worth, because I was in such a dark place. And so my mom and my brother were both sick with like the flu, just like the regular cold or flu. And I thought they were going to be fine. Like, they had the fever, the cough, like all of that. Like, oh, there's nothing that I can really do. Just take Tylenol cold. Like I was so obsessed with this man that I was like, you know what? Just take care of yourself. I need to go figure my stuff out. And I drove 8 hours to him. And I was like begging this guy to love me. And he wasn't even giving me a crumb of love. And then while I was with him, I remember I think he was being mean to me. Like we were in San Francisco. Like I was like in a bad mood. He was in a bad mood. I was on the verge of tears. And then, I get a text from my mom. She's like, hey, I think your brother is really sick. She's like, we're both really sick. I think you should come down right now. But I haven't worked it out with this guy. I was like, I need to get back together with him first. And so I was like, maybe I should go back. I was looking at flights, but then my ex was like, nah, don't go back. What can you possibly do for them? Like they have the cold. They just need to sleep it off. Like he's like, don't go back. Like he didn't necessarily want to be back together with me, but I think
he didn't want you to go.
Yeah, he enjoyed
just
my
wanted
presence,
to keep you
right?
around.
Yeah. So he's like, don't go. And I was like, oh, maybe I think I should. Like my family's really sick. And he's like, no, don't go. Just leave 2 days later. And I was like, okay. And then I get a phone call from my mom, and she's like, yeah, your brother passed away. And I thought it was a joke. And yeah, I remember like I like fell to my knees, like I was just crying. I was in so much pain. And then I think he felt so guilty. He actually did take me back, and then we dated for another 2.5 years. And he was really good to me. I think he genuinely feels guilty. Like the fact that I couldn't be with my brother in his last moments was because I was up there, 1, begging for his love, and 2, because he told me not to go, so I didn't. And so yeah, I was not there for my brother's last moments, and it kind of still haunts me to this day. Yeah.
Kira.
Okay. Stronger person.
You really are. You're insanely strong. And you have a lot of depth to you. And you have a lot of empathy and love to give.
Oh,
You're extremely forgiving. And I think if people can't recognize that around you, there's something wrong with them.
Trying to navigate all of that. Plus, I feel like those moments when you're just like in a relationship with not healthy dynamics, they just like take over your mind.
Oh, it just consumes you. It's actually way
like
more,
obsession.
way more addicting. Like higher highs and lower lows is what really gets you addicted to someone.
That like framing those scares me, because then it's like, so the person that you end up finding stable, enduring love with, you just don't experience high highs.
No, you do. But I think you don't see the range as much. And then I think when I met Kevin, it was the first time I realized, wait, love is actually so easy. Yeah. And I didn't know that it could be. I thought it was something you had to really work through, like really, really suffer through. But it wasn't. That's not our relationship. There are things that we had to work through, yes, but it's not like that.
Yeah, love, like, absolutely. Love should be easy. People are like, oh, is this relationship right for me? They're going through such a hard time. And especially if it's in the beginning, I'm like, I don't think it should be this hard. You know, they should make your life easier. It should be so natural and easy to love them. But yeah, that's how you know if you go through really high highs and really low lows, like that relationship is not for you. Like the first ex that I told you about, the one I dated for 5 years, there'd be times when our fights was so bad that I jumped out of his car, like a moving car. He was driving, and then he asked to see my phone, and I was like, no. And he was grabbing for my phone, so the only logical answer was to just open the door and yeet myself out of the car. And then he stopped the car. He dove after me. We were driver's seat fighting over the phone, and then it got physical, and so I started calling the cops. I mean, I'm not like this anymore, but it was fun. It was like very high highs, very low lows. And then what's crazy is we would like fight like this. Like sometimes like he would get so mad, he takes a shampoo bottle and then he dumped it over my head.
Yeah, you know
that's abusive.
Yeah, and then later he'd be like, "You want to get boba?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure."
Oh no,
dude, I've been there.
Toxic relationship, but it's really fun, honestly. Like,
that's
not the takeaway. That's not the takeaway.
I mean, I wouldn't do it again, but it was.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
I would
not
never
doing it
recommend
the first time.
It was interesting.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, but I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm good, dude. We don't need that. We don't need that kind of energy in life.
I've also been in some relationships that were like bad. I never had anyone jump out of a moving car, but I once was in an Uber trying to leave, and the girl wouldn't let the car go because she would open the door and like keep it open. So then the driver
cannot.
Poor Uber driver.
Oh no.
He's just like, what is going on? And I'm like, dude, I am so sorry. So she wouldn't like close the door, and then he can't drive off because there's someone holding onto the door.
That's comedic. That's just hilarious.
Yikes.
That's so terrible. So kind of the opposite of your situation. So yeah, I think your point's a really interesting one. Like, Kira, when you said maybe you shouldn't be feeling the butterflies, I think I'm just really, really confused, like what a good, healthy relationship is. So this last relationship I was in, she's like the sweetest, nicest person. Like there actually was nothing bad or toxic about the relationship, which for me is like really confusing, because I feel like I've dated people where at a certain point you're like, oh yeah, like I definitely need to leave this relationship because this is clearly not good. Like I'm sure part of you, Kira, was like, I'm jumping out of this man's car. This is not good. Or like Chloe, you're like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Like hitting up other women while he's still talking to me. I think my last relationship, there's nothing like that. And I also didn't think that it was the one. And so I think I'm still processing. It feels really, really weird to end a relationship that on the whole was like good and not toxic, which then I'm questioning myself. I'm like, was this the right decision, or do I just not know what a loving, good relationship looks like?
I think breakups with like a good person, but you're just not compatible, those are so much harder than the ones that were very toxic. Because you can justify like, oh, they're bad people, like I should never be with them. But as you said, your ex, very
Exactly.
sweet,
You've
like
met her.
such.
She's like
I love her.
amazing human being, truly. And then it's just like it's just really confusing because then I'm just like, wait, but like she's great.
Was this your first truly healthy loving relationship?
Probably the healthiest. Yeah. When I think back, okay, so I think I've dated 5 or 6 people. So first one was the girl I dated in college, and we dated for like 4 years, 5 years. We dated for a long time. We dated for so long. I look back and I was like, how did I date somebody for that long that when the relationship clearly wasn't going to end up working out? And that one actually she ended because we were long distance. She's also a good person. There's nothing like terrible, but it was just like, I never was the one, right? Like I never was that guy. And then the second one, I dated a girl for about a year. She also ended it. And it was also relatively amicable. She's just like, hey, I think she's much more of a chill person and I'm less chill. I feel like all 3 of us are on the less chill spectrum. I would say both of your partners are like more on the chill side.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Chloe.
Sorry, go on.
So like all 3, yeah, that was very hesitant. I'd say all 3 of us are on the less chill.
A little bit extreme or not extreme?
Yeah, I feel like we have no chill. Yeah,
passion.
No,
let's just own it.
We live life and we feel all the feelings that come through.
We're
life.
toxic.
No, we're not toxic.
We're not toxic.
No,
You're a little
I've so
compared to our partners, like your last relationship, Kevin, my partner. I feel like compared to us, they're just so
good,
good, wholesome. I mean, we're good people. We're not that toxic, but I feel like compared to them.
No, I try. Hey, speak for yourself.
Yeah,
I try.
I'm not in this group.
Yeah, I'm not.
I'm out.
Kira's labeling herself in her own little town.
I know you guys. I know your partners. They're in denial. Okay.
Chloe and I are emotionally healthy people who have been through toxic relationships in the past. I'll have you know that your example when you were like, oh, maybe he's talking, you're talking. Actually, like there's a girl who like hit me up in the past year and like came over and then was clearly interested in me and tried to show me photos of herself. And I literally unfocused my eyes.
Wait, photos? What do you mean photos?
She was like, oh, I was on this like magazine photo shoot. Do you want to see? And I like, how you can like blur your own vision so you can't see something?
Wait, why?
Because I didn't want to be unfaithful. I was like,
to your
yeah. Those are some pictures.
I was like,
there were spicy photos.
I can't even look at these photos. So I just like blinded myself by unfocusing them, and I was just like, I just see like
true
flesh.
faithful
That's
man.
it. So I know I'm dedicated.
Yes.
It's because I've been through bad relationships in the past, right? So you learn. Yeah. I will say, yes, I do think we definitely are, all 3 of us, a little bit higher on the feeling spectrum. And expressing them. Yeah?
That's true.
Okay, I agreed.
Yeah. I'm glad we're aligned.
Yeah, I'm glad we're aligned. So yeah, I think she was just more not vibing with that. So she ended it. It was amicable. 3rd one did not end well. 4th one was like relatively fine-ish. 5th one did not end well. And then this is the 6th one where like, yeah, just a very sweet person. And I feel sad. Yeah,
I feel sad too.
I haven't dated or like hooked up with anybody. I'm kind of still just processing it. Yeah.
When we talked about it, it's a hard decision to make, especially because they are actually objectively so sweet and kind.
Yeah.
Something me and my girlfriends have learned is you don't need a reason to break up. Like if you don't feel this is the future that you're building towards, you don't see it, that should be it.
Such an interesting question. Like, when do you commit, right? Because I do believe ultimately what makes a relationship good is you choosing and deciding this is going to be the best relationship of my life. Like out of everyone, this is my person.
Wait, commit as in marriage?
Yeah, like the act. The act of choosing, like alone's in the heavens and the earths, like you're my person.
That was so poetic.
I think I was referencing like Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen. Exactly. So maybe more weeb than poetic. Yeah. But yeah, like I think you choosing this as your person actually makes it your person.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I chose.
Yeah, you chose.
I chose previously too.
Oh no.
And previous before that. I know.
So actually, I heard that for a lot of people, we're actually less in control of the choosing because people decide to choose the person to get settled down and married with too, like when they're in a place they're ready. Because sometimes you meet the right person, but it's the wrong time. Like maybe you're too young. You just had some growing to do.
This is that in-yeon shit.
𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙄𝘼𝙍. Yeah, in-yeon.
Explanation, please.
So
Fate.
Kira, her partner, and me, I was third wheeling hard. Actually, can I just say, I go to so many events with Chloe and Kira where I'm third wheel. It's great. But like literally just last night, we all went over to dinner with Tafo and Vicky, and they put together this
You were a
beautiful
seventh
spread.
wheel.
I was a seventh wheel. So Tafo and Vicky are married.
With a baby.
With a baby. You and Kevin are married. You and your partner have been together for a solid chunk of time and have a dog together.
Oh, yeah.
I was seventh wheeling. I noticed like everyone was seated next to each other. And I was like, I'll just sit here at the head of the table and just like vibe, I guess.
Pain.
So I was going to say there's this Korean concept. I love how I'm Korean-splaining. You're the Korean one. Do you want to explain what
you should
in-yeon
explain
means?
it.
So in-yeon is the Korean word for fate. And it's like when you have kind of like an invisible string attached to the other person.
Like red string theory?
Maybe, kind of. So it's kind of like soulmate, like fate. So even if you guys don't end up together, or it was always meant to be, like that person was somehow meant to be connected to you. I don't know, but I actually don't believe in that. I just feel like when people are ready to get married and they're in that place, they just date the first person that comes along that meets their like checklist that they're attracted to, and then you make it work. It's like you just date someone when you're ready for it, and I feel like that's who you end up getting married to.
These are like two very separate theories of romance. So in-yeon, the additional context I'll add, the idea is you've brushed up against your person so many times in past lives. Maybe you didn't get together, but you met as neighbors, as friends, as peers and coworkers, and it never was quite it until this is the life that it is and that it will be.
Whoa.
Like this is the accumulation of all past karma across past lives have come together in the convergence of fate. This is your person. That's
what in-yeon means. I feel like I failed Korean.
The movie was literally called Past Lives.
Oh, that's true.
That's why it's called Past Lives.
Oh, I do remember when the scene where they're like, oh, you just brush a little bit of clothes with them. And that was a past life.
Yeah. Exactly.
And it builds up.
And now you've posited another very different theory of romance, which I'm going to call like Brownian motion, Newtonian physics. You're like, well, just like particles bouncing around in a gas chamber. And then when the time is right, you bounce into one. You're like, oh, okay, this is the one.
That was not an analogy I thought would come to mind from what Kira said. I think she's more
it feels less romantic.
I mean, yeah, you still choose, obviously, the person that you end up with. You love them so much and you're like, oh, I connect with this person so well. But it's also timing too, because even if you meet that person when you're like 17, or maybe, so let's say you get married to your partner and then 10 years from now you actually meet someone that you get along with even more, but you're not going to divorce your partner to get with that person. Exactly. So there's like actually a very narrow sliver, like window of time where you can meet your person. But you can't meet all the people in the world, and you're not going to meet all the people you're ever going to meet in that window of time. So I feel like there's actually many people that you could end up with, and you just end up choosing one that aligns with your values. They're a good person. You like them. They check all the boxes.
Yeah. Right person, wrong time is the wrong person.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Actually, this kind of blends everything together, because the person you met the wrong time, maybe this was but a past life.
Yeah.
For the next one. But in this one, they're not your person.
Do you think you were not ready?
I think...
Because I know you have your goals and dreams and ambitions.
I think a few things that are pretty clear in my mind. I definitely want a partner. Like, I want to marry. I want to have a wife. I don't think I want kids.
I think we talked about this.
We've talked about... I know both of you actually want kids. Yeah.
I definitely want kids.
I mean, yeah, I do. I just have been having hesitations lately.
It's a big commitment.
It really is.
Although we also talked about, if you have them now, it's Year of the Dragon.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, lit. And then we got Snake.
Yeah.
Next year.
Yeah, nobody wants Snake.
Yeah.
Sorry, snakes.
Wait, can I just add, like, I feel like the people that should be having kids are like not having kids. Some of the most like intelligent, emotionally intelligent, empathetic, educated people are choosing not to have kids. Like, I think
isn't Korea having a population issue?
Oh yeah, it's like inverted. Oh yeah, so apparently Koreans are gonna go extinct within like the next like 100 something years because no one's having children. We have the lowest birth rate, like more so than Japan now.
It is socioeconomic, right?
Yeah. So actually, there's something deeper that's going on, and it's because Korea is actually very technologically advanced and it's very easy to live in. And you can, so this is like a phenomenon that happens across all mammals. There's like animal studies too. When a society or an ecosystem is actually too perfect, like if it's like utopia,
Too self-sufficient.
yeah, they actually start like, so one example is I think they did like a rat study where they gave rats like unlimited food, like perfect bedding, everything that they need in society to survive.
They don't want to have
And
sex
they
anymore.
literally just stop having kids and then the population just dies
This
out.
is like Wall-E. Like in the future, everyone's just like vibing around those giant chairs.
Yeah, you don't need kids anymore. And back then when Korea was really poor, like right after the Korean World War, like people were having like 5, 6, 7, 8 children. And then now, I mean, I live in Korea like half the time. It's insane. It feels like I'm living in a very futuristic country. The healthcare is impeccable. Like the food, the delivery system, like just the education is just top tier, that I feel like people are okay with not having children. So that's one part. But then the second part is it's very costly to raise kids now. Like I heard hagwon, which is like the after school like tutoring that you send your kids to. It's so expensive that actually 60% of the average like Korean's income goes into their child's education.
That's a lot.
Yeah, and it's so competitive that
Wow.
people are choosing not to have kids. Like now most people in Korea, like they need to live off of a dual income household and they're
Mhm.
barely like cutting it, you know,
Yeah.
just they're barely making it just on 2 people dual income. So kids is almost out of the picture for a lot of them.
The one thing I learned from my Harvard economics degree is this concept called the demographic transition. And it refers exactly, Kira, actually to what you said. When countries' average per capita GDP, like the standard of living for a person, rises, it's correlated, potentially even caused by people having less children as well. When things are really hard, as you mentioned, Korea was in poverty, you actually, from an evolutionary perspective, want to have lots of kids because you don't know if any one of them is going to make it through. So it's really scary to have one kid and invest all your eggs in one basket. Instead, you have 8 kids because at least one of them will succeed.
Yeah.
And when a country reaches a certain level of prosperity, that calculus changes. We're like, no, it's okay to have one kid and invest all of my time and energy into supporting that one person. And so what you said makes a lot of sense. I have not heard of a version, although it also makes sense, where it reaches a level you're like, do we even need to have kids?
No, because I mean, obviously we have kids because we love them, want to take care of them. But in the past, people had kids so that when they got older, there was someone to take care of them. But then now we have like great Medicare, like Social Security. You've got nursing homes, like, and especially with like retirement, you don't really need kids anymore.
See, that actually, to go back to your question, Chloe, I want the meaning of my life to be the stuff that I do and the stuff that I do with my partner. So for me, actually finding a wife is really important precisely because we're probably not going to have kids, meaning that the life we build together and the things we do and the meaning we find in it with each other is literally the most important thing ever. Because I don't have kids, the bar is actually higher.
And you can't always bank on having an amazing connection with your partner. There's going to be times of like good and bad. And sometimes after living with them for decades, a lot of people kind of like fall out of love. A lot of older people actually tell me, like older couples, they're like, honestly, if it wasn't for the kids, there's like no big reason to stay together. At the end of the day, my husband or my wife, we don't have a single drop of blood that's mixed. So they're like, if things become bad, like once you start fighting and you break up or you divorce, they're like, that's it. I really don't want anything to do with them. But then when you have kids, it's almost a forcing function to be good with your partner. And I feel like it ties, well, this is good and bad, right? Because now it forces you to stay together with someone that isn't that good for you.
So I think you're right. First of all, there is something that will bring you together if you have a kid. I guess I'm like, first, I'm very scared of that. Like, I look at my own parents and like, you know, they haven't been like emotionally close for decades. And sometimes I do think about that. Like, our models of love are undoubtedly shaped by what we've seen with our parents. Not only how
For
they love
sure.
us, which, most of us, haha, like insecure because they give us conditional love, but also how our parents love each other. And I do think, like, it's not like my mom and dad have, like, slept in the same bedroom for over a decade. You know what I mean? And so, like, I think to what you say, Kira, and I'm like, actually, yeah, I'm really scared by that. I'm so terrified. That's why it's so scary. It's like, okay, you're going to find someone, and like 10, 15 years from now, we're going to be such different people. I guess you have to find someone and commit hard enough. Even in the days where love waxes and wanes, the commitment is what keeps you together and pushes you
Yeah.
through those. So I don't think you're wrong. And then, I don't know, for me though, I do personally want it to be as much of a choice always as possible. So you're never feeling tied down. You always, precisely because you could choose to leave, that makes it more special that you're choosing to stay.
I also think both of you guys have so much going on in your lives.
You
Like,
too.
no, I mean, yes, but your days are just so packed. You guys are like building, like, whenever I try to get lunch with either of you, I feel like we've got to schedule
wait,
a 35
you just
business
asked me
days.
to
in
lunch.
advance.
Wait,
Whoa. I ask you for brunch. Kira doesn't reply.
you're getting lunch plans?
Sorry, okay. I am a bad replier, but yes, you guys, I feel like, have such busy lives that kids right now don't make sense. But what about like 20 years, 30 years from now, and you're like 50, 60, your careers have come to a lull, like all of your friends around you are like having kids or they're retiring. Like, I don't know, do you think kids are going to help find meaning,
I
fulfillment?
don't want to have kids to like have meaning in my life. If I want to have kids, it's because I want to give them the best possible life possible. Like, I don't want them as like, well, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do. Like, guess I'll have a kid,
But also, don't you want to pass down all the cool parts about you, the things that you learn to like another human
I'm okay if my
being?
bloodline ends with me.
Oh.
Well, I mean, my brother will probably have kids.
Oh.
But like, that's not going to come.
I feel like it would just be such a waste. I feel like both of you guys would be such great parents.
Hey, I'm gonna be a parent. Who said I wasn't? I just said I had hesitations.
Chloe's like, don't let me in with this guy. Hey, I
Yeah.
might have kids. Like, look, especially if I think that we can have a kid and it's a choice and they're going to have an amazing experience with it, two amazing parents, yes, I'm in. I just think that's so hard and definitely not what I have right now.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Kira to your first point on when you have a family, like that's more of a reason to build a stronger family. And I feel like a lot of families become stronger. Some families don't because it is a
It gets
hard
worse. Sometimes
life
it
change.
gets worse.
Yeah. I mean, it's with any big life change. So I feel that I would love to build that together with my husbando.
With Kevin.
Yes, Kevin.
I think that's a good way of putting it. I think for me, ultimately, it's just I don't want to have kids to give myself meaning or to continue my bloodline or do any or to help the country's economic index. I would only want to have kids for them. And if I don't feel like I can have it for them, which I don't feel right now, then I'm like, no kids.
Yeah. Interesting. I don't know who this person was, but like I think it might be Kevin's dad's coworker or something who adopted kids at like 50 or 60 and is having a blast because they're in a place of life where it's like, yeah, I got nothing else to do. I've got my entire life set and all I want is to give love.
Would you adopt kids?
If I can't, like maybe, but if I can't have my own kids, I think that my genes are pretty strong.
Kira, what
I got
about
like
you?
good genes, dude.
I personally want to have.
Do you like your genes?
They're all right.
Yeah, I got no allergies. I got 20/20 vision.
I don't have any of that shit.
That's true.
I'm surprised evolution has already selected us out. That's how I know we're living in the modern age.
Indeed, indeed.
Do you feel like your parents have a good relationship with each other?
They do.
Yeah. I mean, I think the reason why I really want a family is because I feel like my parents modeled that really well for me. They really sacrifice for each other. Like, so from outside looking in, people might be like, well, what does your mom bring to the table? Because like my dad is, well, he's 6 feet tall. He's like very successful. He went to Harvard. Like he's a founder, investor. Like he's, he comes from generational wealth. And so growing up, like I had a live-in like au pair, like maid, like for most of my life. And my mom was a stay-at-home mom. She never really had a job, but she was like the best mother, and her whole day and her whole life revolved around making my dad happy. And sometimes they would argue and like, or not argue, before it even gets to an
But would your
argument.
dad try and make your mom happy?
Of course, it was they did that both ways.
Okay.
But I came from like a very patriarchal
Oh, you came from a traditional
family.
household.
Yeah, like mom was like a stay-at-home mom / trophy wife, and then dad made all the income, and so all of their group of friends very similar as well, like very strong one income earner or generational wealth. And then the women, you know, like they didn't have a lot going on career-wise, but they were great mothers, they were great wives. And my mom would always tell me, like, it's better to be loved and to be happy than to be right. And so whenever she gets into disagreements with my dad, sometimes my mom would fold. She would let him win. And I'm like, why would you do that? Like, you know you're right. Like, why don't you? And she's like, at the end of the day, like, I would rather be happy and be loved than always be right. Instead of
So
That's
interesting.
fair.
So
You know what? I totally agree.
I actually take the opposite conclusion. I would want a partner where they would never feel that. Like, I wouldn't want to date somebody who just folds like that.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's like just folding. Like, so, I mean, there's a way to do it where I think, I don't know, like, for example, so me and my partner were kind of fighting the other day, and he was like, oh, like, you don't have a backbone, like, you don't know how to stand up for yourself, like, you're not confrontational. This is why you have like narcissists around you. You just get like run over. And like me from a few years ago would have like clapped back and been like, no, like, well, F you, because you're also bad at this, and this, and I'm really good. But then like, I don't want to fight. I was like, oh, babe, like, yeah, I'm sorry. Like, this is definitely something that I need to work on, you know, but this is why I'm so attracted to you, because you're so good at, you know, setting boundaries and communicating. And I just learn from you every day. And, you know, I just love being with you.
Questions.
And then he was so like, it just the conversation, the fight just ended there. It's not like I folded.
Number one, did you mean it?
I truly meant it.
Okay, good. Number two, I want it to be equal on both sides. I don't think it's just like, oh, you know, your mom should always be folding to your dad. I hope your dad folds to your mom as well.
They both sacrifice together all the time.
Then it's good. I guess I just don't want a world where it's one-sided.
Oh, no, it's definitely not one-sided. It's not equal, but it's fair.
Yeah.
Is what I
don't
would
think
say.
the folding was the right word, but it's definitely like we have people you've met in life who are always they want to know that they are right. And those people suck.
Yeah, and it's an ego thing, because I think in any argument, I don't think anyone's absolutely right or wrong. It's more about engaging in empathy and seeing the other person's side. And it's usually about feelings. So, I mean, I don't automatically fold. I am headstrong too, and I do push back. But at a certain point, sometimes I feel like I'm fighting just to fight. And I don't even have like good reasons anymore, but like I want to win.
I agree
so
with
I'm trying to
that.
push that side down and not be toxic.
I'm just saying that should apply. That applies to both people in a relationship. I don't think one person should have to always do that for the other. I think I come also this from the perspective of, yeah, I grew up with my parents where my dad provides more than for my mom. I mean, like, my dad also financially provided for me for a very long time growing up, right? Like, he paid for college. I was very lucky. But that became a means of control. Like, hey, you need to go and live this life and study these courses and pursue this major and like hang out with these types of friends, which I incredibly hated. It was very, very hard. And I both appreciate and love him for everything that he sacrificed to give me these things. And I know the strings that always come attached to it. And so obviously I'm a big believer that, you know, if I feel a reaction to some things because of my own issues and insecurities. So when I hear that, I'm just like, I always feel pushback when I'm like, oh, one person's providing and the other person has to follow because the other person's providing. And I'm like, well, I've seen the strings that get attached to that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why I think even if you want to be a stay-at-home wife, have your own thing going on. I definitely think that's why both men and women should empower themselves to be financially capable on their own, because not everyone is kind enough where if shit hits the fan, people will sometimes use these financial strings like as like a, you know, a power play, and it leaves a lot of like women powerless.
You know, it's crazy because my dad has a ton of sisters, like 5 sisters, and he's the only son. and they are all stay-at-home wives. And then my uncles are all the breadwinners, the providers, but the mothers are the powerhouse of the family.
That's interesting.
And the uncles all fold, well, I guess, using that language. But it's the funniest thing ever. It's like so cute. One of my aunts, she was like, the first time her and my uncle went out, she was like, "Hey, do you wanna split a bag?" And then he's like, "Yeah, sure." And then she buys the Chanel classic flag.
Oh my God.
And so,
Is this like an expensive bag?
yeah, it's $10,000. Back then it was like probably a couple thousand. She's like, "Let's split a bag." Obviously it's her bag. But he made her
Let's
half
split a
of it.
bag.
And he finds it the funniest story ever. And she still has a bag today. And they like talk about it.
That's
It's
really
funny.
cute.
But obviously it's not. It's definitely her bag. Yeah. So that's them. But my parents, they are interesting. My mom works. My dad works.
So they're both breadwinners.
My dad's like really bad at business. He's like,
This is actually your mom more?
but he's the one who makes the money, but then she's the one who manages it. She's like the business manager, the accountant. She had a CPA. She was a CPA in Taiwan.
What do your parents do? I never asked.
My grandpa used to do clothing, like fabrics, manufacturing in Taiwan, and then came to the States, tried to start a fashion line. Totally failed. And I was a little child model.
And you're what?
I was a little child
You're a
model.
child model? You
Yeah.
have photos of you as a child model?
I mean, yeah, but the clothes are like not that cute.
Okay,
Could you show
we're gonna put them
us?
right here.
Yeah, I can show you. I mean, it was a vibe. It was a time. It's
Wow.
a time of
You were a
life.
model.
Yeah, me with like one tooth missing.
That's cute.
It was a time. So my dad's not very businessy. He's not very great at it. And then he switched and he studied. He went to community college and then went to optometry school at SUNY New York for optometry when I was in high school. My dad was gone for like 4 years of my life. My mom had to take care of the 3 kids and my dad, and no one was making money except for my mom. Yeah, so she went crazy at that time. That was really hard for her. And also just like new country, everything. But I would say that they're like best friends.
Wow.
They are best friends who love each other more than they love their kids. Like they
That's cute.
enjoy life
No way, yeah.
together. So for me, I don't know what it looks like to give up on someone. Like I am very loyal and commitment heavy. So I never really think of that as an option. I'm just like here. Yeah.
You know, so obviously my parents aren't as close with each other. I've realized this before. I've never really known what to do with it or if it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. All the people I've dated, none of whom had like, I think, parents who were in great relationships with each other.
I mean, it's hard. Like
I'm just
yeah.
surprised. I'm listening to both of you. It sounds like both of your parents actually get along with each other, which is fantastic.
They do.
Wow.
Yeah. It's hard. I think that does shape the way that you love and approach your life. That's hard.
Can I ask, when you have gone through relationships that didn't work and gone through a breakup, like Chloe, you shared a bit, like you had all these glow ups. Like, what were the things each of you felt like you changed or learned after going through your breakups?
I think the whole not making the same mistakes, like what was it called? If it happened once, shame on you. It's happened twice.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice,
shame on me.
Shame on me. Yeah. And then I'm going to add my own thing. Fool me thrice and I'll kill you, motherfucker.
I love that.
Great. I like that learning.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big one.
So you're just very skeptical around, well, I mean, obviously you're with Kevin, you're married, but the whole like taking somebody back thing.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty skeptical. I think it works. Some people do it. I personally probably cannot.
I've tried. Doesn't work.
It's not easy. There are a lot of things I learned about myself and my own tendencies. Like I wasn't a good person too. I said some horrible things, and to learn about my own threshold of toxicity and to learn to be more empathetic and know that, look, it's not about you against me, it's us against the problem. Like that was such a big shift that I had to do.
That kind of feels like Kira's framing when her partner's giving her feedback and you're like, wow, I love how you're setting boundaries. It's like the two of you united.
Yeah.
Yes, common problem.
Also, I think one thing I think was really hard was that I never really liked his friends.
Yeah.
And I think I set that precedence from the get-go.
You have to like their friends.
It's not that I have to like them. It's that I can't let them feel from the get-go I'm so judgmental towards them, because these are people you have fostered and built bonds
Right.
with.
If you piss off their friends, they won't like you.
No. it's not about that. It's like that negative feeling where, oh, I want to go hang out with my friends, but I know you don't like them. And that will probably stay with you. So when I met Kevin, I was like, I'm not going to judge anything. I'm going to get to know your friends, and I'm going to be happy whenever you want to meet up with them and try to really get to know them and understand what they mean to you. And the last thing is, I was so scared of what my friends thought about me and my ex. Like that, their opinions of my relationship really messed with my ability to stay strong. And I think that paints their perception of how weak this bond is. So with Kevin, remember, Kevin, very, very, very low bar first impression type man. Like he's no presence, like a very copy paste software engineer, got nothing else going on. So a lot of people were surprised that he was a person I ended up with. But then I think my confidence in our relationship can shine when they ask like, why are you dating him? And I'll be like, dude, you're in for a treat, guys. Like, this is awesome. And I think that confidence to control the narrative of the relationship really helped other people understand and like lean in more and kind of enjoy
I like that.
this as a group.
I'm a big believer that you do not shit talk your partner to your friends unless you actually feel that way, in which case, why are you dating them?
Yeah.
Like, if you have problems, I've dated people who we'd be in arguments and they go and like talk to their 10 friends, be like, well, my friends think this. And I'm like, okay, you and your friends share a single brain cell. Like, that's why you're all friends with each other.
It's an echo chamber.
It's an echo chamber. Like, also, I don't actually care what your friends think. I care about what you think. And I think in the context of this relationship, like, if you want to go talk about your things with your friends, of course you should. You should be able to have a safe place to vent. But don't bring it back to me and then be like, well, so-and-so said this.
Yeah, because friends just don't know your relationship the way that you know your partner. So even if you try to make it fair for them and you explain the situation to your friends, if it makes your partner look really bad, like you might be able to forgive them later for it, but your parents, your family, your friends will not, because they don't see the good sides. They don't see all the behind the scenes, you know, the working through it, the loyal. They don't see that. So that's why I learned to keep my mouth shut.
Yeah, keep it. Yeah, that was a big learning. Any learnings?
I mean, obviously, like my first relationship that I was talking about, where I was like jumping out of the car.
Yeah, we never do that.
Yeah, that was very toxic. And it was almost like an arms race of who can hurt each other more.
That's awful.
Like it got pretty bad. Like we would really say things that were hurtful to each other, and I really regret it. I'm sure he regrets it too, because once something's out of the bag, you can't put it back in, and it kind of ruins the relationship forever, and also how you view that person. Like once the mirror shatters, you can't take it back, and you shouldn't hurt your significant other, even if it's your ex. Like I'm really a true believer of trying to end things on good terms with your exes, because they were once like your best friend, the person that knows you really well, and you share all these like amazing sweet memories together. And then if the breakup is really bad, I feel like it almost undoes all the good memories, and it's kind of sad because you invested so much time into this person for like years. Well, your case is different because your ex was, you know.
Yeah, I don't think I have hate towards him. I just don't want to have anything to do with him, and I do recognize there were good times. Yeah,
it is. I mean, it's such a weird feeling to be like, wow, this is a person that like we were so close.
Yeah, I know.
Like sleeping in the same bed, like sharing all the dreams and sorrows, and it's like now we're just like, I'm like, I might not see you ever again or talk to you ever again in my life.
It's so sad because like to be loved is like to be seen, right? And your significant other knows all the minute details of your life, like the seemingly insignificant details that make you, like your little quirks, like how you like your coffee in the morning, like how firm or soft you like your pillows, and like all these like little things about you. And then losing that, it almost feels like you're losing yourself, because it's like no one else knows me to that degree, especially if you don't have a very strong network or friendship. I think that's also what I learned too. If you don't have a strong community and like strong connections and relationships outside of your significant other, it's difficult. Like I was in that place once too, and it makes you like not think right and want to not break up with that person, because you just don't have anywhere
You're
else
like,
to
I'm
go
alone.
to. And like, if you don't have a lot of friends, then it's like, well, fuck, like, what am I going to do with my time? Like, who am I going to hang out with? It gets really difficult to break up with them. So I think fostering strong friendships and also watering those friendships and nurturing them even while you're in a relationship is really important, because the person that you're dating now, like, they might be at your wedding, but then your best friends they're most likely going to be.
100%. Like, my co-founder has now been with me through like 5 women.
Yeah, that's one way to look at
A lot.
it. Wait, what?
Oh man, it's pouring out for Will.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like a whole thing. If I date someone new, because it affects my life, then it affects his life because we're co-founders. And so
Wow.
like
He's really gone through it.
Yeah, there are people he really doesn't like, and there are people he does like. And so I think of that a lot because like I remember in one of my early relationships, as like an analogy, I used to like work out a ton, and then I stopped working out when I was in that relationship. This is the 4-year one. And then the relationship ended. I was like, oh fuck, I'm weak as shit. And it just became this thing in my head. It's like, I will never let myself go, even if I'm in a relationship. Like, even if I have my girlfriend, my partner, I'm going to still invest fully in my work, in my physical health, in my friendships. I once had a girl I dated who is such a difficult conversation around, like, I have a lot of female friends. Because I once was in a relationship where I did let it affect my female friendships, I saw, well, when it ends, great, you don't have friends. In this one, I was so firm. I was like, look, I hear you. I'm happy to like sit and talk through this, but like, this is non-negotiable. I'm not going to stop talking to my female friends because I know how important it is to maintain a sense of self.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll also add on just to that community building piece. I will say, like, studies have shown like breakups can actually end up being positive events in the long term, depending on like the growth you can have. I feel so much of my life in positive ways is because I go through a breakup. Like, it was one breakup that took me from consultant in Boston to product manager at Instagram. It was another breakup where I went from product manager at Instagram to like doing Karat. It was another breakup that actually started me to make content in the first place. Like, I had so much spare time and emotional energy. That's where, I was like, okay, we should do a Karat podcast for branding. And I was like, fuck it. Like, might as well. If you go back and watch the very early Karat podcast, they're just like me being sad, talking with my friends. They're so not structured. And I'll say, from a friendship POV, both of you, I really got to know in part because I went through a breakup. And I was like, oh, like, I'm sad.
Sad boy Eric days.
And I get to like make really great friends. And I'm so grateful for our friendships. It's like been really beautiful. And like, I'm like, yeah, that was so worth it, right? And even going through this one now, I've also met new friends, right? Like, Lauren's a new friend, right? Like, I do think there's something like, you go through a breakup, you have to look at yourself and say, what's the community of friendships I've built for me? Then am I happy with them? And also, like, now's the time to go and make more friends.
We haven't talked about the breakup publicly until now, and it's been a while. Do you think you're ready to...
Yeah, I mean, part of the reason why I wanted to finally talk about it was just, there's this one week, it was so funny. It's when our podcast was getting views, where I talk about my girlfriend and how much I appreciate her. And at the same time, under the influence, our friends like Jeremy and Wutak, they did like a we'll roast your dating profile. And I was just sad. I was like, oh, I'm single now. Like, I should start to get back into it. Both of you looked at my dating profile. I was like, oh, I'll like send mine over to them as well. But I didn't realize when they're releasing the content. So the same week, you have a podcast with me talking about with both of you how much I appreciate my girlfriend. You have another piece of content on another podcast.
Do people follow that?
There's probably overlap between our audiences of like Eric talking about his like, look at Eric's dating profile. And I'm like, people are going to look at these and be like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? Yeah.
Timing.
So I was like, okay. Like I said, I haven't been dating. I think I will in a bit. And I do feel very supported by my friends in that, like, figuring out, I think my profile, my clothes, my place, the furniture.
Yeah, you're having a whole glow up, a 30s glow up.
I have a village of great friends supporting me through it. So, I mean, as you both know, right? Like, it is, when your partner, and things with a partner, like, it just changes everything, right? Like, everything on a huge, massive scale. And it's not like, friends replace that, but it helps a lot. So I think another month, probably, at least, then I'll go back on the dating apps. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what you might now look for?
I think my last partner was close. She was just a really great person. And so I think similar. This is just me thinking through what I'm looking for in a partner, right? Obviously, like smart, pretty, kind. That's obvious, but that's what everybody wants, right? Have you ever heard someone who doesn't want that?
Exactly.
I mean, in addition to smart, pretty, kind, I think this is just looking back on all of my previous relationships. Sometimes I date people who are really able to come out and do things with me. And sometimes I date people who aren't. And I've dated people across both spectrums. And I think figuring that out is important. Finding somebody who can like come with me so I'm not the 5th, 7th, 9th, 11th wheel at all my friends' gatherings, but like doesn't have to be there. Like figuring out that balance of somebody who can sort of vibe with that energy. Like I myself, like I'm an ambivert. Like I can seem really extroverted, but you both have been there when I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking done. Like the battery turns off and I'm just like, when are we going home? Like like guys, I'm gonna leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seen it.
It's a TBD. So post breakup plan, like I said, it's so weird. Like I was very honest with my ex when we broke up. I was like, hey, I don't think it's gonna work. And, you know, I could be seeing other people. And I told her that because I want to be completely transparent up front, even though like I wasn't and didn't have plans to. Funnily enough, it was very similar when I actually met her. It's because last year I also hadn't been dating for a while after the breakup then. And then finally one day, I mean, you all remember, I was like, all right, time to go on the dating apps. And just to be efficient, I lined up like 5 dates at once. And then she was the second one that I met. And I actually canceled all the rest because I was like, I don't want to see anybody else now. And part of it was because I was telling her, I was like, hey, I want to be completely upfront. Like I am on the dating apps. I might see other people. And I could tell. I was like, oh, I feel like maybe it would feel better and more special if I just stopped it. So I did.
Mm.
It's the same vibes even with the breakup. I was like, okay, I just want to like be upfront with you. Like I might see other people because I didn't want to like lead her on. But the funny thing is I actually haven't. And like, you know, it's been 3 months now. So like sometimes there are people I meet where both of you know, there have been people I've met. I'm like, oh, they're like interesting. Like, oh, maybe there could be something there. But then I'm like, oh, like, are they interested in me? Am I even really interested in them? Or like really just like chasing after distractions? So I'm kind of like, whatever. And then I end up just deciding on do nothing. And so probably another month or so. And then we'll go back on the apps.
Wow.
And I'll probably be asking both of you for advice again.
I'll have to redo his profile.
Oh, I'm excited. 2.0.
It'll be a vibe. Yeah.
Yeah, so look out for Eric's.
Oh no.
All you single girls out there,
Single
quality
girls out
man. So download the dating apps. About a month.
I feel like it's a strong anti-signal when a guy is on a podcast.
No, this is a difference.
Everyone watching is gonna be like, yeah, like if I find him on the app, swipe left, avoid.
Podcast, bro.
All right, Jomies, thank you so much for watching.
Hope you enjoyed having
Thank
Kira
you.
back on. And until the next time, bye everyone.
Bye. I think you're actually the type of person who the impression just gets better and better.
He's
Okay,
like
Eric, your impression is very strong. Like he made me cry the first time that I like talked to him.
Make you cry.
That's a lot, dude.
I didn't make you
No,
cry.
I just feel like we just connected and like
Thank you.
were able
We were
to-
so comfortable and close that you cried.
Yes.
No, I didn't make you cry.